Hello and welcome to our Automotive Leaders Winning Cultures webcast. I'm Sean Kelly. Today we head to the state of New Jersey and visit Mr. Ron Baus. Ron, am I saying your name right first off?
Boss, but Boss Baus.
Okay, I love it. We're going to call you the car boss. And Ron is the owner of Spirit CDJR. Ron, thanks so much for jumping on. I know we had to reschedule a couple times, so I'm super excited to finally get to meet you and get your insights, especially in such a dynamic time in our industry.
Yeah, no, it's definitely never seen anything like this before, and I've been doing it for all my life, like over 30 years active. So
Wow,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
that's why you're going to bring a lot of value to our webcast. So Ron, first and foremost, how did you end up in the automotive industry? What happened to being an astronaut or a baseball player or a fireman?
it's funny when I saw the question. The first thought was I wanted to be a chef. When I was like 10 years old, and when I found out you had to cook with onions, I was out. I said, I don't want to do it there. So that was like probably the closest I ever got to maybe picking a career. I grew up in the car business. My father, he started in the business when I was born. It was kind of one of these had to make some money, and it just turned out to be a career for him. He started at a Chevrolet store in Philadelphia, and then he opened a couple of used car lots, and that's where I kind of got exposure to the auctions, hanging out on the lot. I love the auctions. I love that whole experience, and things were different back then. Your kids could go to the auction, and my dad would say, "Sit on the bleacher, don't put your hand up," and then he'd have the auctioneer, making me bid, and I'm like, "I'm not putting my hand up." I was, he just had fun with it. And you think back all those memories, but that was I think the segue, or at least for that. I was pretty fortunate because my dad would, he closed down his used car lot, went to work for Ford dealership in New Jersey, and then an Oldsmobile Jeep store in New Jersey. And both of those jobs were, he was manager. I don't know the exact position, but Saturdays he would bring me in, and I would wash demos. He's kind of one of those guys who's just kind of asked for forgiveness, not permission, and he knew the owners weren't around on Saturdays, so it was cool that way. So I got to see, exposed to a lot of different things in the culture. I want to say when I was my father, what he did was he went to work for a man who had a history of buying dealerships, turning them around, and he would give general managers first opportunity to buy the store. And so that's how we ended up in Swedesboro, New Jersey. It was a man by the name of Don Tobin. Mr. Tobin was, from I guess the Cherry Hillish area, somewhere in there, Princeton, I think, somewhere in there. So at the time he had two stores, and this was I'm sorry, he had one store. This was the second store, and I want to say, I feel like my dad started in I don't know, 84, 85, and by 1991 is when he purchased a store. And then coincidentally, I did not start with him full time, even when he bought the store. I at that point was working for UPS. I was with them part time as a loader. It was great money. Just to kind of put things in perspective, minimum wage back then was $3.35 an hour. UPS started you at $8. It was a big spread, and it was good exposure, good experience. And honestly, it was really my mom kind of just said, "Listen, your father's dream is to have a business that he can turn over to you and your brother, your younger brother, who's in the business with me as well, and just give it a shot." And I really was hesitant because at that point you saw the other side of the car business. You saw the not so good side and behaviors and stuff like that. But ultimately, I made that decision. I have no regrets. I moved quickly from, I was in service for a little bit, salesman. Then he took over a used car lot. I ran that for about 5 years. And it was 96. I had come back to the main store because at that point we just acquired Jeep. Back then it was Chrysler, Plymouth, and Dodge. Plymouth went away, and then he was able to acquire Jeep. And that's when I came back. That was, the role of used car manager. And it was probably the best, time in my career, honestly. The most fun, I should say.
I was going
And
to ask, what did you enjoy most about that time?
yeah, there was used car. I just love the used. I love the auctions. I love the unpredictability. It was I don't want to say it was gambling because I'm not a gambler, but it was just the excitement of, can you take a car and can you make 500, lose 2,000, can you buy a car, bring it back and, sell it. And it was very different because you didn't have a lot of information like you have today. Tell you the truth,
Huh.
we don't even go to auctions anymore. Well, obviously COVID changed that, but still like we would just do everything online. But there was a time when, you really had to kind of be out there. So that was my favorite part. And, one day my dad said, "Listen, it's time to come into the main showroom and start to take over." I shouldn't say really take over, but it was just kind of run the desk and just to kind of be familiarized with the manufacturers, things like that. He was very big about what do you call it, just relationships with manufacturers, with the banks, with people. My father was a trustee for NJ Carr, which is our I guess our legal team for New Jersey, I guess however you want to call it, legislative things like that. So it's a very good organization to be a part of.
Wow.
I went, so when he passed, I did take his seat for trustee. Now I'm treasurer with the organization. So so that exposure, and quite frankly, I thought it a lot. I really thought a lot of this stuff was kind of ridiculous, and all these meetings, and if you've sat in meetings, man, you're kind of like, they're just like you're all over the place. You can't concentrate, Um, so yeah, my career really kind of took a wild ride, but a good one. I have no regrets for where I'm at and what I'm doing. And now I am the dealer principal. My dad had passed in '09, and I'd slid into his spot. Um, you know, so technically I work for mom. She's she owns the stock, but my brother and I handle we run the business. And actually he puts it best. He's like, look, I work in the business. He's my brother. He works in the business. I work on the business. So there's two complete dynamics to kind of what we're doing in terms of how